What's up, lore masters? So let me go ahead and get this out of the gate. If you're a huge Discovery fan, you're going to be disappointed. If you think anyone and anything that touches Discovery is the devil, you're going to be disappointed. My opinions are often nuanced, and this one is no different. Additionally, I do not like the writing of Discovery. Do not expect me to be kind to that series. With that out of the way, let's just get into it. While I credit the writers of Discovery with trying something different, I don't think the writing of Season 1, and even Season 2 if I'm being honest, don't at me, is respectful or consistent with the writing that came before. Discovery's writing is clunky at points. It feels like it fundamentally misunderstands how some species work in Trek, and doesn't stay consistent with even the most basic of Trek continuity. It has no idea how to effectively provide social commentary, and while I do not think we can reasonably assign most of the blame of the Trek fandom division we have on the writers, I do believe that the writing of Star Trek Discovery substantially adds to the discord and allowed the peddlers of hate to have reasonable, legit facts that they would add to their fiction to make their side seem more popular. Discovery, especially Season 1, has been one of the worst pieces of propaganda and has ensured that a fracturing of the fan base would be sustained. So much so that, in my mind, I don't know that any writing will ever redeem or bring people together in regards to the Discovery series. Now, to be fair, Season 2 was far better. It was more subdued and a bit more honoring of the overall works that came before it, dead baby heads aside. However, I've never had respect for the series after Season 1. While I couldn't find a recording of me saying it, I feel like I have probably stated at some point that Discovery writers simply don't understand, nor have the capability to understand, nostalgia Trek writing. That is to say, writing that was from the original Trek series, such as TOS, TNG, DS9, and others. Even though those writers would claim that they do. I had lost all confidence in their talents and understanding on Trek specifically. That's not to say they aren't good writers, I just didn't think they were good Trek writers. Trek, at least on the internet, is in pretty bad straits when it comes to the social breakdown and fracturing of the fandom. There is so much vitriol being spewed on both sides, constantly. It almost feels like a requirement to be on one side or the other, and no option to simply like something or not without swearing an allegiance. Even I sometimes feel like I have to sit and stake a claim. Do I stand with #WeAreStarfleet, which appears to give a chance to Trek and be open-minded, even though some will say it's good regardless? Or do I go with the fandom menace that has more the ability to be critical of Trek, but also has produced some of the most hateful trolls I've ever seen? For the record, I'm not picking either side, you can get bent on that score, but let's continue on. So it was with a cautious hope that I looked to Star Trek Picard and its ability to somehow bridge this divide. I hoped that it could bring those who want a semblance of what they once had in nostalgia Trek and those who enjoy Discovery to come together and just enjoy the franchise again. Given that Picard was being written by the exact same writers as Star Trek Discovery, I had my doubts. But then, something happened. I watched Star Trek Picard and it was good. It wasn't just good. The first episode of Star Trek Picard is, in my opinion, a true spiritual successor to that of The Next Generation. Somehow, these champions figured out how to take the non-violent intrigue of TNG, mix it with some of the required flashy gadgets and fighting that modern audiences require, and somehow meld them together. Even more surprisingly, it still had an agenda, still was left-leaning, and yet returned to the process of arguing it intelligently, and at least nodding to those who would disagree. I really think that anyone who liked TNG and DS9 will enjoy the episode. I don't want to give many spoilers, but will do so mildly here. I think the greatest encapsulation of subtle writing that addresses social issues, and yet keeps it a conversation, is the scene with Picard and the reporter. While I'm not sure I would compare it to Measure of a Man directly, I would say that this scene is in the same grouping. The entire back and forth does a wonderful job of addressing media bias, lying reporters, bigotry, racism, fake news, and more. Honestly, it's worth a lore analysis of its own, and I will be doing that at some point. We even see a dystopian authoritarian state that is the Federation, and the funny piece here is, all of it makes sense. It doesn't break continuity, doesn't break canon. You really feel this is a path that could have been taken. And it's all from the same writers that brought us Discovery. I honestly don't know that I can pinpoint what the exact change is. Perhaps seeing the response to Discovery, or Sir Patrick Stewart insisting that he be a part of the process. Maybe it's the fact my channel exists, I don't know. And it probably isn't one exact reason, but a conglomeration. So in that vein, I do want to apologize to the Star Trek Discovery writers. While I do think that I did have some justification at the time for saying what I did, I was wrong. And definitively, when Discovery first came out, the way I did it was wrong. So apologies on both aspects. But in any regard, the only reason I do not suggest paying for CBS just yet is because I honestly fear that this episode is lightning in a bottle. That after this, it's all downhill. I'm so used to the lies of Discovery marketing, watching the attacks on people that the showrunners disagreed with, or seeing the Discovery cast and crew become very political, and the disregard for everything Trek in the series overall, that I don't trust any show that has the Star Trek brand. Right now, that is Discovery's legacy, and I hope that Season 3 will undo all the damage, though I have my doubts. But even with my doubts, I do think that it can do it, because at the end of the day, the writers of Picard are the writers of Discovery, and it seems like they actually get it. For right now, I do feel that the Discovery writers have saved Star Trek, that it will bring our fandom back together. They've made something that most everyone can enjoy. But all of these are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.